Hello, hello, what's good? What's good, what's up? Hope everybody having a blessed day, a peace day, wherever you are. Your family good, y'all staying out the way. Yes, sir. But anyway, yeah, I had a peace day, I had a aight day. You know, I always think that the most high for another day. Like I look at it as like that's the least I can get. And everything else I ain't saying I do it myself, but you get what I mean. I'm gonna put forth my effort. And that's how I look at it. But the topic for today in this live that I wanted to speak on is support. You know what you think about that? Support. Like it's a touchy topic, you know. It's one of those things, one of those topics that'll make a motherfucker change the subject on you. You know they might, you know what I mean? Like they just want to dismiss it like it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for most people. The topic of support, you know, and support is funny. It's very very funny. It's very tricky. And in this live, I'm gonna speak on basically the different types of support. You know, whether you got your emotional, your financial. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different types of support or what have you, moral. You know, but and also I'm gonna touch on the history of the lack. I guess I want to say it's a myth, but at the same time, being black, being black American, foundational black American, from this soil, I've seen it in our community. And of course, I'm not dismissing or saying it doesn't happen. It happens in human communities, put it like that. So it ain't got no color. So, but I'm speaking on the perspective straight towards, my people. I've seen it, growing up or what have you. Just the different issues that we are plagued with when it comes to support, you know. And on the upside of that, like I've also seen the change, you know, the total, evolving of nah, we don't get down like that. Like we help out our brother, we help out our sister, shit like that. I've also seen that. But that's even tricky as well. It's all tricky when you start to speak of support. I don't see many content creators or what have you speak on the topic of support a lot. Like it's one of those things that people often say, and it's like quick, very brief. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I got you. Like in it, like even the motherfucker that's coming out the pocket for you in a situation. Like you normally they got some kind of hesitance to them as well. You know, and there's reasons for that. There's reasons for that. You know. There's reasons. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm speaking from being the giver and the receiver. So, and for most men, this is just on a side note, for most men, see, this is one of those things where people play semantics like, oh, real nigga, or I'm a man, alpha man, and all that shit. It's like, really, your actions will show Your actions will show, as opposed to you having to tell motherfuckers this and that. But that's just me. That's how I look at it. But so I'm gonna be speaking on this topic: support. What is support? What is support? The different types of support. Whether it be emotional, social, financial support, moral, motivational type support. Even practical, things can, get practical. And that's normally in like workplaces, tech, things like that, auto shops. And community support as a collective. That's the last type of support that I'll be touching on. So yeah, what is support? By definition, it is the act of providing help, assistance, or resources, emotional, physical, financial, or otherwise, to another person, group, or cause. It's an essential human behavior rooted in empathy and cooperation, allowing people and communities to grow and survive and thrive together. Like I said, support has many different types, many different forms. Emotional support, which involves, like I said, empathy, compassion, understanding to someone, experiencing stress, sadness, or uncertainty. They going through something. That's the common one. People often link either when people talk of support, they often link either emotional or financial support. That's normally the ones that, and that's financial support even comes up in people's minds in the forefront when it's even involving a business. When if you ask me, support doesn't always have to be funding. Support doesn't always have to be in monies, monetary, it doesn't have to be in that form. But boom, like I was saying, emotional support, that's what, listening. A lot of people need somebody to just vent to, get it out. They want you to be a good ear, But the catch is that they want you to do it without judgment. Most people, not everyone. There's people that actually can take criticisms. They want that, and I promote that. I would promote that. I'm very much a person like that. Keep it 1,000 with me, and I keep it 1,000 with you. Cause that's what's already gonna be given from me. But at the same time, I learned that I'm in an environment, I'm in a world that I can't expect that. You see what I'm saying? So, in order to preserve myself, I don't even be accessible. I know that sounds crazy, but you gotta protect your peace, protect your health, and all kind of shit. I had to learn that. But anyway, listening without judgment, like I said, and then there's, providing comfort. Once again, that aligns with the venting. Emotional support is mainly venting. Somebody want you to just be there. You know what I mean? I just want you to be there for me and type shit. Then you got your social support. That'll come from your friends, your family, your colleagues, people your neighbors. Like that often comes under the guidelines of like advice. You know what I'm saying? like that. That's why I said it. It's not all always attached to money. You know what I mean? When you think of support. But that one could be tricky as well. Like I said, all support period is a tricky topic. It's a tricky thing as far as when you speak of us as humans having to, possess that type of trait, or even, like I say, talk about it, or even just talk about it. Yeah, sharing advice. Often people will come to you with their problem, and they don't always want to hear your advice. You see what I'm saying? Which is weird. Which is weird to me because it's like, what are we doing then? Like how I've always put it to people is that I'm solution based. I'm solution based, and that came from grooming of a lot of hard times type shit. Like it's preventative. Like I'm coming from this, therefore that, right. So I'm gonna look at it from that standpoint. I'm looking at it like when people say logically. To me, that's what's logic. Like it makes sense. There's no other way to look at it for me. I'm gonna look at it like this. Either we can get this solved, or what the fuck are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? And that ain't always right. That ain't always received well, of course. Like when somebody is trying to come to you with an issue or what have you, they just want to vent, right? They want to do number one, emotional. They want your emotional support. They just want to be there, lend them an ear real quick, and then you got onto the okay, I'm going to speak. I'm going to say something. I have a brain. I'm going to respond now. So you give them your advice, or how of course, this is how you processed it. They automatically dismiss what you say automatically. Like I said, I'm gonna speak on that as far as how it plagues the black community. That is as minute as that just sounded. What I just broke down, that equation of that happens every day, all day. And motherfucker hold a grudge, crazy shit, right? So anyway, on to the most common one. The most common one is financial support, right? So financial support. This one, of course, involves money. Involves monetary value, materials. Even a home at. But yeah, this one involves money. You know what I mean? Boom. And boom. Let me start with this point when it comes to financial. I didn't speak on it on the other ones, but even as a parent, or or when you were a child to the parent, like that parent to child equation relationship, support, emotional support is major. You know what I mean? Like that's your first, if not, you know what I mean, the one that you learned how to even deal with it, how to possess these traits, how to listen, how to speak, vent, like what's the saying? What's the saying? Damn. Not the cry wolf one with damn it, it'll come to me, but like boom, you better speak up, you know what I mean, type shit. Like it's basically you better speak up, you know what I mean? Like if you hurt, don't be suppressing that shit. Don't be quiet with that shit. Let a motherfucker know. So, it's that's crazy. That shit is right in my mind right now. I can't even fucking say it right now. But anyway, yeah, when it comes to emotional support, and just, of course, as a parent, giving your child advice, sound advice, and of course, we've all been kids and teenagers. We've all been at that age where we just know it all. I know. That's all you hear is I know. I remember me doing that shit. Now I'm dealing with that shit. That's crazy when you. And now I know what my mother and my people was dealing with when I was younger. I'm like, I know. And that's gotta, you see what I mean? Even that breakdown has to be taught. You gotta be taught to, as a, at that age when you're doing that shit, you gotta be taught a lesson of you don't know. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm giving you the advice. I'm giving you the one up. That's how my people always taught me. My mother, she would be like, I'm giving you the one up. I'm telling you some shit ain't nobody do for me. And like when people talk about gangster on the other side note, when people talk about gangster, that's who I refer to. You know what I'm saying? I know, some guys that are on that level as well, stand up or what have you. Cause I don't refer. They got that twisted. They got the definition of gangster twisted here in America. I believe, I believe, let's just call it a thug, or some, you know what I mean? Nightcrawler or some shit. I don't know. But everybody's not gangster. That's what people will be thinking. Everybody in the streets is gangster, and that's wild to me. But anyway, I don't want to go down that tangent. Emotional, social, which is advice, and then you got financial. Boom. Boom, as the parent to child relationship equation, boom, you got to be there for your child, man. You got to be there. Like even if what's wild to me, even if you don't get along with the mother or the mother don't get along with the father, which the equation normally doesn't go like that. It normally has to take the woman to like pass away or, be on something, to be out of the child's life. But that's normally not the equation. It's more common for the woman to be the single mother without the father there in the home. And of course, we know the different policies and bullshit that black community, our community has been plagued with on top of all of this. And I'm gonna get into that. But yeah, financial support. You got your parent to child, and then just within your circles, one might need that. One might need something. You know what I mean? I'll pay you back on Friday type shit. Yeah, you see, that sound real, right? Of course. Yeah, I've definitely had to borrow something. And the thing about me is the person would already know, because it's only one vein to me. You know what I mean? I don't have many veins. So the person, when I say vein, like that's one of my options. Like the person to know that they gonna get it back on that date. And oftentimes I even throw shit on it. That's what's crazy. And that's one of your veins. That's how you know it's one of your veins too. One of your options, because it's your people. Like this is not I hit him up. I ain't talked to this motherfucker in 6 months or a year, and all of a sudden you just pick up the phone. Hey, say, let me hold this. And you know what I mean? Like, see, that's why I say support is tricky. So support is very, very touchy, very funny, man, and it can it could cause problems. It has caused problems. But support, man. Yeah, so boom, financial support. Yeah, financial support. Yeah, people might, need to hold something. Let me borrow this. I get it back to you. And, like I said, it gets funny because you'll have people that are asking for that asking to borrow something, and they ain't good for it. You know what I'm saying? Like like you know what I mean? Like when the last time they paid you back, type shit. When the last time you seen them with, period. You know what I mean? Just blessing the whole room. You know what I mean? Like you notice that in your circles. You notice that in your circles. That's if you keep people around you like this. I advise you to not be around people like that. Or, and it becomes funny because a lot of them will be your family, right? It'll be your blood, and that's another misnomer too. That's another myth as well. Like we've been raised up. We've been raised up to look out. Let me get the hookup type shit, and it's like, and it'd be just because purely solely on the factor of it being your people. You know what I mean? And then you start learning the politics of things like damn, they ain't never got me back. You know what I mean? And then that's something. Them same people that are like that, that are like that, they'll go paint the whole picture for motherfuckers that ain't never bought nothing from you. all because you threw down the hammer, you put down your foot on the umpteen times that they got off you, got some shit off you, and then you ain't never got, you know what I mean? They ain't never paid you back. So now you say something, and now it's, they flip it on you like, damn, this nigga got mad because I ain't pay him back, and it's like, yeah, of course, but they're gonna stretch it and make it all theatrical. They're gonna tell the story in a way that they're gonna tell a story in a way that it benefits them. You already know that's how humans do, right? That's how humans do, man. That shit is crazy. But anyway, there's other ways of financial. I went down that rabbit hole. That's how it's very, yeah, I told you it's very touchy. But boom, other ways when you think of financial support, you know what I mean? First, I said the parents support the kids, right? Take care of your kids. You got scholarships, grants, donations. You know what I'm saying? A lot of organizations take donations. Even here on this channel, I have received donations, and that's a blessing. I thank, you know what I mean, the people for doing that. And it's like that on here on YouTube, on these platforms. I've done it. I support the other channels. I support them. I support the content creators and people, that are doing their thing. Yeah, most definitely. Buy merch, all that, for sure. But yeah, so donations, and then then you got your government aid. You know what I mean? That goes along with the scholarships, right? You got your government aid. The SNAP and all that. You know what I mean? Like what's going on right now? What's going on right now is that they're saying this is the first time in at least 200 years, or 100 years or some shit like that, that the SNAP hasn't, yeah, which is crazy, because when was SNAP? That can't be right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. But anyway, right now the SNAP program has come to a halt in various states, which is due to be across the nation, across the whole U.S. Excuse me. And I could say first off, as a child that was on it, and I tell you, it was you see what I mean? That's what's crazy too. As a child that was on it, and what's crazy is my mother actually worked at the place, and she wasn't even qualified. This is just back. This is pre everybody tech savvy days though. You know, shit is still in the books. You know what I mean? Shit is still in the books. Everything ain't digital yet. So yeah, she finagled. You know, she made too much. Couldn't be. See, and that's the myth. That's the myth that they got running on the narrative for black people. You know, my people, they got it running that we on welfare and SNAP and all this shit. And a lot of us grew up seeing our people make too much and couldn't be on it. Don't get me wrong, people done been on it, and you don't even know that shit. They done finesse the system. You know, we learn from them folks, because that's what they do. I tell people that all the time. Like, you'll see these big ass houses and shit. They got thousands of dollars on that EBT, riding around with a pocket full of EBT. Like, seriously, you know, getting your tax money straight up, feeding that person over there in the suburbs. You know, nice house, you know, landscape good, everything. But anyway, that's the myth that they have running, and you know, since I've gotten older, I've realized that was a myth. Now that information is traveling between us, you know, and we learning the truth. That's what I respect the internet about. Yeah, we've learned that, boom, you know, like, we're not the highest number on, we're not even the second. That's the crazy thing, see what I'm saying? And these other groups to be projecting, I always talk about that. Like, as soon as you hear somebody they throw out little nothings, you know what I mean? Little, you know, trying to discourage, trying to flatten or what have you, you know what I mean? Like, it's very childish, it's very ugly. But it also it conveys pure projection, pure insecurity. You know what I mean? That's what it spits out every time, every fucking time. You know. So anyway, we're not on SNAP. A lot of us make too much to be even qualified for it. You know, and if you do, you're buying it off the block. You know, somebody you know, let me hold 100. You know, let me hold 150. You already know how it go. And so with that right now, yeah, they got some, being that the government done, quote, you know, so-called shut down, which I think is bullshit. It's like, how can that happen? You got food on your table, you still taxing me. How's it shut down? But anyway, like, I'm still getting taxed at the store, so how's it shut down? Seriously. But I guess, anyway, I guess somebody would say, "Oh, those are their own private entities." Yeah, I understand that, most definitely. But anyway, yeah, the SNAP benefits, you know, your government benefits, you know, your Medicaids, you know, the different programs that they have. And like I said, financial support is the major one. It's the most common. It provides stability. You know, it even opens up more opportunities. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, this, it's the most common one that people think of when you hear of the word support, or you talk amongst your peers about support. They often, as soon as you say something about support, it often goes straight to monies off top. Now here's a good one too: moral and motivational support. You know, this kind is about what? Uplifting people, you know, saying things like, yo, you got it, you know what I mean? You got it, you know, one more, you know what I mean? Like, that one is common as well. And that's normally, you gotta break the ice. You know, you gotta break the ice to do that type of shit. If in a team environment or what have you. Because a lot of people, and this is what made me want to speak on this topic of support. A lot of people, what I've realized as I've gotten older, and I'm even one of them. That's why I'm talking about it. A lot of people are not good at receiving support. Like they're not, you know what I mean? Like they're not open to even receiving support. Like when somebody's saying good job or whatever, like I could take, what's that episode on The Wire? Yeah, it was the episode on The Wire when Michael, I think it was season 4. I'm definitely a Wire head. I love The Wire, man. That's the best show ever. One of the best shows ever. The Corner, The Wire. I still haven't even watched Power though. I don't want it to fucking dilute The Wire. I don't want it to take out what I like in The Wire. Cause what The Wire did is knock out The Corner for me, but I still fuck with The Corner though. Cause there ain't no other shows like that. They don't make no show like that. But anyway, it was an episode with Michael on season 4, the young boy, and yeah, he was little. Boom, he was taking care of his little brother. Remember, his mom was out there, and he was taking care of his little brother. And he would go to school, and some of the teachers, or I think one of the teachers, would give him like a box of stuff. They did the same thing for the other boy, Dookie or whatever. Yeah, it was a teacher that was taking care of him. But yeah, like it was something happened, and then he was like, everybody just too fucking nice. He just stormed out of the room and was like, y'all, everybody just too fucking nice, man. Like, and I felt that, I understood that. Most definitely, I related to that like a motherfucker. It's like, you know who your person is, even if your person is down, they ain't doing so good. That's just like his little brother was his person, boom, his mom was his person, like, you know what I mean? That's just how it be. And anything else, any outsiders is like, what do you want from me? What you doing that for? That's why I always use the term rub my belly. I be feeling like a motherfucker is like trying to finesse me, just off top. And that's a poison. I'm not at all promoting this like a good trait. At the same time, it helps me survive. But, it also can hinder my shit. It also can, basically deter opportunities, you know what I'm saying? Like, boom, an opportunity to walk right past me, I'll walk right past the opportunity, all because I'm often not approachable, you know what I mean? And I'm working on it. I could probably say I'm speaking for a lot of brothers my age, and coming from, the 90s, we definitely grew up in a different era, and that's why I always say, like, the internet just allows people to see it in real time. Like, all this bullshit that's going on is always going on. And I think it was worse back then because you couldn't see it. You didn't know it was going on. Because you got to know, boom, when you're seeing this wild shit and this trauma and all this wild shit come across your timeline, it makes you prepare for shit that could be in your neighborhood or in your environment. It makes you walk outside and already be on one. Because you've seen it happen all the way in fucking Houston or New York. You see what I mean? Like, it's different when you couldn't even see the shit happening. You didn't even know. And the same thing in your own town. You won't even know what's going on over there on the south side or the north side or whatever. You won't know, But now as you have the internet, boom, information travel, and it's putting niggas in hiatus, hysteria. Most definitely. It's fucking people's heads up from the oldest to the youngest. And it's sad. Like, a lot of people do not use the internet correctly. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm actually writing a book. Make sure y'all look out for that. I'm writing a book about that topic. So that's very, very passionate in my heart. speaking on that topic, writing a book about that topic, to be exact. That's what's crazy. But financial support, financial support is the main one, and then what I said, moral support. Like people actually pushing you. People actually pushing you. You know what I mean? They want to see the great in you. They see the great in you. They want to see you succeed. They want to see you reach that goal. You know what I mean? And what a lot of people often like don't harp on enough, I would say, in alignment with what I just said, when somebody says they want to see you do great things, they want to see you succeed, right? They often do not put themselves in that boat with you, with the other person. They often do not say, they're not saying to themselves, like, which I believe they should, and the person that's receiving the support should look at it like that as well. You always hear of these stories of celebrities or different ones that have, gotten it, gotten that support. A certain, person even just put the ball in his hand. Like, I love that story. I've had that story. I didn't make it to the league or anything like that, but I am nice. I had other things to hinder my shit. And I definitely could back it up. I ain't just telling a nigga I'm nice. But anyway, fucking, like, boom, a person that just handed him the ball, you know what I mean? That was the first dude that handed the ball, you know what I mean? LeBron or KD or somebody. Their stories always stick out when I talk about things like this. KD and LeBron, and that's common. The old head on the block will hand you a ball, you know what I mean? You didn't even fuck with basketball. You didn't even fuck with football. Like, he's trying to give you something to occupy your hands before the fuck shit does. Your hands, you know what I mean? Be the devil's playground. Idle hands be the devil's playground type shit. So he's already seeing that. See, it'd be that type of support that's major as well. That's the one that I personally love, just being, now that I'm considered an old head or OG, or, I think we was calling niggas OGs at like 24 though. That's what's crazy. Yeah, I was calling niggas old heads, and young. When I was like 16, I'm calling that nigga, somebody 24 old head, But, we skipped the Unc shit. Unc, we had it backwards. Unc was somebody like, older. But anyway, like, that's the one that I gravitate towards most. Of course it can be attached with the other ones. You can give somebody all of these supports, all of these different types of supports, all in one. You know what I mean? I that's the one that I gravitate towards when it comes to say when personally, because like I said, I'm not good at receiving support. So the reason why that one I can relate to that one the most is because the person has gone through it. Like, this is experience talking to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't no damn duck. This ain't, you know what I mean? This ain't nobody that's just giving me bullshit, blowing hot air. Like, that's like, I got respect. He has credibility, That's why I say a lot of people don't really harp on that, because you'll have people that have the know-how, and I'm not saying don't let the young bro or young lady bump their head, but don't let it, crack their head. Don't let it fucking, hinder their shit. That's all I'm saying. Is like, you got the know-how, you been there, done that. Like, reach out, you know what I mean? Give them the jewel, you know what I'm saying? Give them that one up, you know what I mean? Like, don't be on and a lot of it comes from just what's wild, what's very wild is a lot of older cats be hating on younger cats. You know what I mean? I could say I grew up dealing with that equation. I've had an old head fight me over a game of Madden that we had money on. You know, literally kicked me the fuck out of his house because I beat him. You know what I mean? And you know, we talking shit the whole time. That's normally when it starts brewing, right? When you talking shit, you getting in the nigga head all game, you know what I mean? Yeah, but like I said, boom, the old head kicked me the fuck out of the house over the game of Madden. That sounded like the equation to Lil Snoop, RP Lil Snoop, you know? But yeah, that's wild. But that's, and so it don't even be the game, you see what I mean? This nigga already hating on me for whatever internal reason, you see what I'm saying? And that's normally the equation that is big in our community, which I'm going to touch on, hold on. Yeah, moral support, like I said, that's the one I specifically respond to, I react to, you know, somebody just telling me like, man, you got it, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got it. Like, that's fire to me. You know what I mean? That's dope, you know. Or, you know, boom, I'm even one to take I don't like that, you know what I mean? A lot of people are not good at receiving, you know what I'm saying, criticisms. Like, and that be their support. They don't understand. This is the support that they have for you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm one to say shit like that. Like, nah, do it this way, you know. Yeah, I understand why you did it. Oh, that's cool, but do it this way. You know what I mean? All because of you being in the position, like I said, that you have the experience. You've been there, done that. So you like giving them the one up. I've had it happen just in my field, in construction. You know, I was at one point the young boy, the greenhorn, you know what I mean, green helmet, and I've had old heads teach me how to do different, you know what I mean, different methods of getting things done. And then guess what? Fast forward some years, because I've been in that field for years. Fast forward, now I'm teaching the ones under me. Like, I'm running the whole shit, supervising and all, and I'm teaching motherfuckers how to do this and how to do that. You know, hold it like this, you know, put your hand right here, like type shit. You know, teaching them like things that only a person that's in the field that's experienced can tell you. Like, that's why I've always respected that one. It's like, I show you better than I can tell you. Because I'm not really a person that can sit and just, you know, give you, all right, you know, here's the first step, here's the second. I'd rather you just fucking, you know, you get right there and I get right here, you know what I mean? And then once I want you to, you know, get in here, boom. You already see you watch the whole shit. That's why you got to pay attention. A lot of people don't, that listening is also with your eyes. You know what I'm saying? Listening is also with your eyes. You know, that's a major part of listening. Because what you hearing, if it ain't matching what you seeing, like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? But, yeah, that's the one that I personally relate to and I love the most is moral support. That's bigger than money to me. Cause yeah, that's bigger than money. You know, the moral. You know, you can plant a seed that'll go far. You know what I mean? You can give a young bull some advice that'll go far, man. Like, he'll always remember you. Like, I got a couple old heads in my brain that everybody that know me, when I spit them out, they're like, oh, it shakes up their mental too. Like like they remember, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, and I go even further too. I rattle their brain even more by telling them their phone number. Like, that's how instrumental, you know what I mean? That's how influential, yeah, they were in my life, and how much respect I have for them. You know what I mean? That's, yeah, moral support is major to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's somebody that's like, I believe in you. Like, I see the great in you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna invest into that. Like even without giving you a bag, even without, you know what I mean? Blessing, you know what I'm saying? With money. I'm gonna bless you in a different way. Like that one is major to me. I'm one to pass on that type in a way. In a way, I feel like what I do here on this channel, like I said, even if I get zero to whatever, like I'm still gonna get it out because this is therapy to me. This is my like type shit, diary type shit, digital joint, you know, like like mom, I'm on TV type shit. Like I'm able to, like I ain't showing myself right now, but you get what I mean. Like when I do my videos and shit, like man, I got my own. That's wild. That's wild as hell. Like I'd have been one of those ones doing the basketball thing. I still might do that. I don't know. I still might do that. Because I see a couple of the old cats still balling, making videos with the young bulls. And I like watching them. It's like, wow. Like, I bet that was some shit that dude always wanted to do. Because we grew up with N1 mixtapes and shit. Like, if you had the mixtape that you used to get with the spree wells at Foot Locker, they used to give you get the N1 mixtape at the Foot Locker with the spree wells. Yeah, when the spree wells came out. It was either the Marberries or the spree wells. I don't remember. But Skip the Malou, all them was on that. But anyway, so yeah, that is what support is. You know, from the moral, you know, and boom, I'm gonna just skip through this one real quick. Practical support, you know, that's like I said, that comes in handy when you're in the workplace, you know, especially tech, you know, troubleshooting, you know what I'm saying, expertise, you know what I'm saying, like that's the type of support that I was speaking on when I said it, as far as in the field that I'm in, you know, construction, you know, that's a major one. Like you don't want to give nobody bad techniques, you don't want to give them hack techniques, you know what I'm saying? Like you want to pass on, you know, some good traits, you know, teach them up well, you know. What they say, you show a man the fish, you know what I mean, he'll feed. I can't recite it right now, but you get what I'm saying. So nigga feed a village, feed a world, you know, you teach others to fish. That's just how it goes. Like I said, you plant the seed and it just keeps going, it keeps growing, you know. But boom, the last one, collective support, you know, which is, you know, like community support. On a much larger scale, of course, it's not just involving two individuals or what have you, you know what I mean? Like it's major, you know, it's major, you know, like when they talk about that saying, it takes a village. When, you know, that's what comes to mind when people talk about community support. You know, they use that saying it takes a village, and, you know, like boom, to raise up the kids. You know, the women all do their part, and the men do their part. You know what I'm saying? But also on collective community support. Type support, you know what I mean? Community type support is when the grassroots come together, like boom. The first thing I could say, the first thing that came to my mind just now was the push for reparations. Of course, we have other plights, we have other issues that we address as well. But that one, to me, is the one that came to my mind that I noticed. And I make videos about this topic all the time. I talk about this topic all the time. Like, boom, when you speak of a community or a collective, a community coming together as a collective, that's one of the things that highlights the breakdown of, like, where's the support? You know what I mean? It draws out that question of where's the support for that? And then you have, you have your different responses to it, which is crazy to me, wild to me, because the same people that are saying we shouldn't get it and this and that are also being subjugated and oppressed. And they'll speak on that though. They'll speak on that. You know what I mean? Like boom. Perfect example. Slim Thug, the rapper Slim Thug down there in H-Town. Like he recently was speaking on some podcast about how foundational Black Americans shouldn't get we don't need reparations, and he's also, I think he called it a handout. Yeah, it sounded like the others. You know what I mean? Like sounding like the Mexicans, the white boys. All these people that are, they don't want to see us come up. You know what I mean? Nowhere near. They want you to keep coming to their shit. Keep coming to my shit. They want to keep stealing your shit and then, making money off of your ideas and talents, and you know what I mean? That's how they want the equation to keep going. They don't want you to own nothing, And that's why everybody runs on that false narrative, that disingenuous narrative, which is wild to me. As a little boy, I didn't know this world was like that. I ain't even gonna lie to you. And I'm not saying that I was a housed ass nigga. It's just I wasn't around no, racism and all that shit. Like when you around your own people, we got our own shit. You know what I mean? You see the poverty and different things like that, but we ain't look at the world as a bigger scale, a larger scale. At least from my perspective, I can't speak for everybody. I'm just saying this is pre-internet, pre-social media. We just got the problems in our own neighborhoods and shit. Like we ain't talking about what's going on in Louisiana or Chicago and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's not how we grew up. But anyway, yeah, like boom, reparations comes to my mind when I talk about community support. It definitely needs to be a push on that. A push, whether you have this whatever weird shit in your heart that your people should not get it. Like how I've always said in my videos, shit, if you don't want it, you can gladly give it to me. Of course, you should probably give it to your kids, your loved ones. But by you saying you don't want it, it's like you gotta calm that shit down. You gotta, especially when you got a stage, you got a voice. Like that's what I don't like, cause it'll be a regular Tom, Dick, or Harry like me that ain't got no fucking megaphone, but you got a megaphone and yours is saying no, I don't want it, and you sounding just like them folks. Like it makes people wonder, like, damn, are they paying you to suppress that? You know what I mean? Go against that. Like that's crazy to me. I just think that's super wild. And then expect the same people that you going against to keep supporting you. That's a crazy ass fucking equation, man. Like super crazy. I'm not saying that it should incite violence, or like when people see you all, they get him, nah, it ain't on no shit like that. Get that, it ain't even on that shit. It just should be on some, okay, so now we know that we should pull back on supporting you. You know what I mean? Like seriously, like you shouldn't get a voice after that. Like, cause it's like you're speaking as an individual, and it can be based off of so many factors. Like the number one that comes to my mind is you're misinformed. You're being disingenuous, cause you like the information is right there, and I know you heard it. I know you got the internet just like all of us. You know what I mean? You can ask your chat GPT, GPT will even tell you that you a lie, that you lying. You know what I'm saying? But you misinformed and you disingenuous. So it's on some shit like you should not get a platform to push that. Like keep that shit to yourself. You know what I mean? That's how that should go. That's exactly how, because you as an individual is trying to speak for a whole community. You know what I mean? You're trying to speak for a whole community. You know, and it's wrong. It's wrong. Like boom, I expect you, if I'm saying anything that'll hurt the community, hurt you know, if I had the power to, which I don't, you know, I ain't got no platform like you nowhere near, you know. And but if I could, I would expect you to sound off on me as well. If I was like, nah, nigga, that ain't, you know, that ain't it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would expect that. You know what I'm saying? I would, because 9 times, being that I expect that, being that I'm a person that said I expect that, 9 times out of 10, I'm not even, that ain't even how I get down. So, and it often throws off people that, because they see you as somebody that's solid or what have you, you know, supporting you, and then all of a sudden you come out with some sideways shit, you know, and then that's when, you know, they have to cut off the support of you. You see what I'm saying? And that makes sense, right? It's like, damn, like what the fuck? And so that takes me into, speaking of that takes me into that takes me into the issues that, you know, has been plaguing the black community as far as support. Like historical, you know, it comes from, it actually derives from historical trauma. You know, of course, you know, when you think of those, what you think of the slavery era, the Jim Crow, you know, the different systems that were, you know, deliberately designed to mess our people up, divide and control, and, you know, whether it be, you know, separating our families, you know what I'm saying? Punishing, you know, dismantling, you know, when you think of your Black Panther Party, you know what I mean? Like these things have always been a part of our history, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is they don't just go away. You know what I'm saying? They don't just go away. Like we might not have had a lot of, you know, major events happening in our lifetime per se, which I can say, well, you could probably say that the George Floyd, you know, during that, or these different police brutality martyrs that you know, they emerge on social media, because you have social media, you know, they become like household names. Like you remember them like their jerseys. It's pretty sad. Remembering them like they're, you know, oh, those the Jordan 9s. Like, oh, that's Tamir Rice. Like, that's Breonna Taylor. And it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. But, yeah, so, you know, boom. It's a historical trauma. You know, it caused systemic division. So with that said, what it makes us not trust nothing. It makes if you haven't heard anything I've been saying in this live, or even if you heard any of my other presentations lives, I'm always letting, you know, people know one way or another. It's like I'm for self, man. I'm all about And that's not even on no selfish shit, like meaning everybody around me is good for me. Like like I'm gonna lend my support, my help to everyone around me. So with that said, that'd be for self, because everything outside of it, and that ain't even on no, to me, I just look at it like a castle rule. I look at, like, I don't just step over the homeless dude on the block though, or you know what I mean, or if some lady's getting, you know, abused, you get what I'm saying? Like it doesn't go like that. But first and foremost is self-preservation. But when I just spoke on the whole trauma, like it conditioned our people to go into that type of shell. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where it often, when it comes to support, it hurts us. You know what I'm saying? Because we all mutually have that feeling. We'll look at it like it's too risky. Like, and that motherfucker, this is your blood, that's your brother, that's your sister. Like, you know what I mean? You know that you ain't gonna get it back. How many of you say that? Hit this person, you know what I mean? They hit you up out of the blue, and then they about to ask you for bread, and they ain't gonna pay you back. You know what I mean? Like, we don't trust easily. Nowhere near. And what's ironic about that, since I've gotten older, I've read, in the Bible, that we ain't supposed to trust man or woman. That's wild to me. Like that, and if you grew up knowing that, that's good. Yeah, I just didn't know that. Like that's actually a commandment. It's a God's law. He's like, yeah, don't be trusting. Put your trust in me, meaning the Most High. Like, God the Father. Like that's what I just look at that as like self-explanatory, and it makes sense. So we have these these lack of trust issues. Like it can snowball into bigger problems. Like I said, it's a conditioning. Is a conditioning. Like, boom, when society repeatedly tells our people you're less capable, like they made these things laws. Like, this was just the law of the land at one point, and in a way it still is. They just do it in different forms. But they tell you people you less capable. Y'all ain't got no order over there. Y'all, you know what I mean? Y'all ain't organized. A lot of our people get programmed and, rocked to sleep. Get rocked to sleep into believing that shit. This is the truth, whether you deny it or not. 9 times out of 10, the person that's denied it is you the motherfucker that I'm talking about. Like, yeah, you often, you'll get rocked to sleep, hypnotized into believing shit like this. Like when it comes to supporting, once again, the topic of reparations. And I'm going to use that example of Slim Thug again. There's been others, but his is the most recent right now. He's putting out to the masses a message of reparations is a handout, which is misinforming our people. And to the ducks, I call them ducks, like people that are just, they're a leaf, they'll just go either which way. Whatever way you going, I'm going with you. Or y'all going that way, I'm going that way. Like they don't, you know what I mean? Free thinking is a curse to a lot of motherfuckers. Free thinking is a curse. But anyway, he's putting out the message that reparations is a handout. And it's something that, our people shouldn't get, which is wild. And, like I said, he has a megaphone, he has a stage, he has a platform. As a rapper, as a famous rapper, there's a lot of people with ears that are going to hear that, and that's not okay. You know what I'm saying? That's not okay, and that's why I say it can definitely cause, bigger problems. It'll have people doubting, you know, doubting truth. That's what you call dogma. Like he's putting out dogma, like to the point where he's trying to make it seem like it's unquestionable. You know what I'm saying? Which really, this is just coming from another figure that would do this tactic is Charlie Kirk, which I'll say rest in peace, because I don't wish that on no one. That's that's dogma. Like it's putting out, like they'll often spew out a bunch of numbers, right? They're numbers. They spit out numbers. You know what I'm saying? It don't be really concrete. You know what I mean? It doesn't really hold no weight. But by him doing that, by Slim Thug doing that, he's putting out there, making that person that doesn't have the information, or say they had the information that they've heard, that it's a debt owed, which is the truth. It's a debt owed. They got the other side of the fence, other side of the fence, which is the truth. And then they hear that, and then it'll have them questioning it, doubting it. You know what I'm saying? And what does that do? That draws the numbers of support lower. You know what I mean? It makes people timid, because a lot of people, whether people want to admit this or not, man, whether people want to admit this or not, a lot of people support shit just because such and such is supporting it, man. Let's keep it 1,000. Like that's a major factor in the black community. Like, a motherfucker don't get his props until he know that it's okay, until they get the green light to give them their props. That's weird. That's always been weird to me. That's always been weird to me. I'm sure it happens in other communities, but once again, I'm speaking of my people on my channel. So it's like, that's the way I look at it. Like, boom, oh, okay. Like, you saw the homeboy gave you a blank CD of his mixtape when he first was working on this craft. You know what I mean? When he first was working on this craft. And yeah, it could have been ass. It could have been boo-boo. Like, tell him. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to be on no shit like fake supporting, fake love, like, or a lot of people will say, oh yeah, man, I'll be there, or oh, I'll buy one, or then when you tell them how much, dang, let me get it for, they try to get a discount and shit, and it's like totally just, no one's gonna, people talk about this, but no one that does this is gonna admit to this. They're not gonna say like, yeah, I'm trying to disrespect your shit. I really don't have no respect for your shit. And so boom, fast forward, now you popping, now you up, and everybody supports you. They even see everybody that they know support you. Everybody in their circle supports you, and they was given the they was given the chance to support you in the beginning, and they wanted to be on that sour shit for whatever reason. And I'm gonna tell you the reasons, because it's actually a psychology behind it, man. It's actually a psychology behind it. Like, people will what? They'll think they're gonna look bad by associating with you. How many can relate to that? Like, you want to support something, or you so-called, lying to yourself, telling yourself that, you want to support something, but you'll be like, nah, I don't want to be, looked at like I roll with that motherfucker or whatever. You know what I mean? And here's the big one. Here's the big one. The big one is a lot of people won't look at it as valid until what? Until the folks, until like I said, when the masses start liking you, that's when they'll jump on the bandwagon. They'll jump on the bandwagon. But look, it's a big thing in the black community that, and I speak on this all the time. Like, say, here's a perfect example. Me and the homeboy could be standing right here on the lunch break. Could be standing right, posted up on the lunch break, and then say a white supervisor comes walking by, or Mexican even, because black dudes even do it with these motherfuckers too, the white adjacents as well. We could be talking, you know what I'm saying, you feel me? Oh shit, you know what I mean? And then white man walk up, hey, how's it going? You know what I mean? And mind you, he even gets out of his shell because and many of you can relate to this. They try to cosplay your shit just because they think this is the only frequency we hear. Hey, what's up? They try to say their little bullshit. You know what I mean? Or just like a white woman would say to it, the black women, they try to say, you know what I mean? They try to talk in your language just to get a connection. And it's weird. That's always weird to me. I want people to be themselves, man. It's like, just talk like you talk. Talk like your mother and father talk, man. That ain't how it's too late now. Here in America, the whole world is talking like us now. And it's weird as fuck. The whole world, the whole shit is talking like us now. It's weird as shit to me. I don't really like it because it's like, I understand that we're the cool or whatever it is. I don't like the word cool either. But I understand it. We influence everything, and then, but we're not compensated for it. We're not supported in that manner, though. See what I mean? Like like I could see if all these same motherfuckers that cosplay us all day was out in the street instead of that no kings bullshit. If they was all out in the street yelling, supporting our cause for reparations. You see what I mean? That'd mean they really genuinely fuck with me. That's where that whole saying imitation is a form of flattery or whatever the fuck. Like, that's what flatter me. You know what I mean? I don't really dig the different ones saying nigga this and nigga that all day. You know what I mean? Especially that. I can't stand that. I didn't grow up with that. Everybody got Jordans on, but at the same time you say fuck black people. It's weird. I don't even care if you say to me, Jordan don't even fuck with us. Like, he invested in prisons and shit. Like, I really don't care. You know what I mean? I fuck with MJ, like, you know what I'm saying? But, and it's on a whole different reason. Like, this reason actually went extinct. It actually went extinct now. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers don't even, it doesn't even hold the same weight as back then when you see a nigga walk up with the new Deons or the new Ken Griffey's or what have you. It ain't the same now. Everybody, I've had motherfuckers do this, man. I've had people do this. Listen, because I'm also in the generation that grew up with the internet. As soon as it hit, I'm in class with the internet. And then, we the first ones with the gateways and all that shit. But anyway, all they have to do now is they see what you got and then type it in, and then you'll see that nigga tomorrow with that shit on. And it's like, damn. You see what I mean? Like, how, to me, that doesn't hold no value now. It doesn't hold no value. Like, you liked them for you. You know what I mean? You liked them for you, and now you got this motherfucker and that motherfucker. All y'all got the same shit on. The same thing with the music, everything, all the artistry. Like, it just becomes very bland. And I believe them folks like it like this. They like it like this. You know what I mean? Where you walk up to somebody and they be like, what's good? And it's like, where you from? And then And they'll tell you where they from, and it's like, I never even knew y'all being like that over there. Like, oh, but now I forget. I'm in the internet era. Everybody is like that now. Like, motherfuckers is throwing up gang signs and they ain't got no gang over there. Like, it be crazy shit. It's that wild in this world right now. But anyway, I think I went on a tangent. I think I went on a fucking tangent on that one. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they'll just be seeking validation. As soon as the white supervisor walk up, he's trying to seek validation from you by speaking in your language. Hey, what's up? You know what I mean? Type shit. And then you're trying to seek validation from him by flipping your tongue. By flipping your language. You know what I mean? Oh, nothing, I'm good. You're talking like your words are pronunciated better, and your posture is better, and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? And to a nigga like me that's just standing there, and I ain't saying, boom. On a side note, I'm not saying you got to be all fucking ghettoed out. I'm not a big fan of that, period. You know what I mean? I'm not saying all that. All I'm saying is have some dignity about yourself. That's it. Like, there's a time, of course, to be, more lenient, more loose with your people. I understand. But even around, the others, that are not your people, you don't got to get all tight ass with the nigga. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't got to get all like, damn, like, here goes God. Like, that's how it be looking. Like, motherfuckers, get a stick up their ass, and then they're like, oh, shit, here comes Tom, and here comes Bob. And it's like, just be yourself, man. Just be yourself. That's it. And matter of fact, my advice on that is keep it short. You know what I mean? Keep it short. Let them fucking be asshole open. Let them volunteer mad information. And you just, okay, that's it. Like, but when you be the nigga that you up here volunteering all kind of information, you up here stroking this fucking white man's ego, you know what I mean? And it's the same way, the ones that do that. Like, they'll be the first ones that throw you under. So, where's the support in that? Where's the fucking support in that? So, but like I said, these are the things that plague our community, plague our black community when it comes to, the topic of support. And it has been plaguing, like I said, but at the end of this, I'm also going to highlight the fact of the matter of I see the change, and I'm pushing for the change. I'm pushing for the change most definitely. Like, boom, here's one. In the modern era, especially with social media, there's like this constant pressure to look a certain way. You know what I mean? Look strong, look successful. You know what I mean? Look put together. Look like you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? And then, so if you show any kind of, and this is what's crazy. It's just like in the same, to me, it's parallel with intelligence. Growing up, I used to get picked on just because I was getting good grades. And I always thought that was stupid as fuck. I always thought that was stupid as shit. Always. And it'd be the same motherfuckers that are asking for the answers, which, boom, in turn, I'm supporting that nigga. And it mainly be because I'm a diplomat. I'm looking at it like I don't even want to get in no jam with you. It ain't on no fear of you or none of that shit. It's just, even if I give you the answer, you still gonna fail because you don't even know how I got the answer. So I'll get it to you. Later on in life, my mom said that you should have been giving them the wrong answer. And then I told her that would have caused the jam. You see what I'm saying? That would have caused the jam. You know, like instead, I'm just gonna give you the fucking answer, and then you get caught or whatever. This is what happened. This is true story too. That's what done happened too. They'll get caught and then they'll tell on me that, oh, he gave me the answers, and it's like, damn. You know, see, like furthermore, they just dig themselves in a hole. You know, they just dig themselves in a hole. that's the and you deal with that with grown ass motherfuckers nowadays. Still, it's crazy. I'm not even accessible, so I don't even none of this. Nobody is able to do none of this shit to me. And I'm not able to do it to nobody else either. See, I don't look at it just, oh, they did this to me. I don't want to do it to others. So, you know what I'm saying? And I don't have that in me. So, you know, my point is I'll just remain, you know, I don't remain, you can't access me. But like I was saying, as far as the look, you know, a lot of people are needing to look a certain way, not actually be that. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But so when it comes to like being supported, like if the cat would got, you know, let out the bag that somebody is getting support or what have you, that's looked at as a no-no. You know, or even on the other side, like you supporting something, like they look at you as weak. You know, often what's the equation? The equation, oh, the woman got the job and taking care of that man, or the man got the job and taking care of that woman. And you don't know how their house is set up. You know what I mean? You don't know how they shit is set up, but it's just from the eye, from the optics to the public. You know what I mean? Oh, he running her or she running him, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's just how it goes to the public, right? Which is, it causes a lot of friction. Like I said, I'm speaking of the things that causes a lot of issues in our communities just purely off of support. Support, man. Like, often people, it's hard for people to say they need help. You see what I mean? We're dealing with people that you know, they rather walk in soaking wet, you know, live right next door to you than to be like, hey, say, bruh. And then you gotta also uphold that after you ask somebody for a fucking ride. It's like, what can you know what I mean? It ain't always got to be money. You can provide something. I ain't saying pussy or dick or nothing like that. All I'm saying is that's just, you got to provide something. You know, you can help him out. See, that's what holds us back a lot as well. People just be prideful, and then when it come to actually being the one to support, they don't even know how to support. They so prideful in not taking your support. You see what I mean? These is traumas. These is fucking plagues that, you know, black clouds that stay over our families, man. Stay over our families. You know, like you'll see somebody struggling. You know what I mean? You'll see somebody struggle. A lot of people, beware of people rejoicing over your struggle. You know, I don't know if you can relate to that. You know, I grew up seeing my people, you know, my elders go through it, you know, and then I've had my share of it as I've, you know, maneuvered on this journey. And you just be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you be gridlocked though. Sometimes you be gridlocked, you know what I'm saying? Like you done helped, right? You done helped, and then they see you down on your dick or what have you, and then they, you know, yeah, it's a weird equation. Like, it's like, man, I need you to, people get off on seeing you asking them. You know what I mean? And they also know you the type of motherfucker that don't like asking for shit. See what I mean? These are the these are the conundrums that plague us, in our communities when it comes to just support. And it ain't even, like I said, it ain't, when you talk about support, it ain't always about financial. It ain't always monetary. We ain't always talking about money. So here's a major one. A major one when it comes to support, in the black community. Healing and community support requires safe, non-judgmental spaces, and those are often very scarce. Churches, for example, have long been pillars in the black community, but not everyone feels emotionally or culturally safe in churches, especially, your groups like your LGBTQ, or, even just younger generations. Like you go to the church, how many of you gone to the church and you feel judged? You know what I'm saying? You feel like, which is crazy. I haven't been in the church in years. The Most High told me I am the church. So, I can remember going to when I was in the pews. You would go there and you feel you feel like people are burning holes in your shirt. You know what I mean? Everybody's doing it to each other. What she got on? What he got on? This is just how it goes in our communities, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I just gave such and such a ride. They wasn't ready. I had to honk the horn a couple times. It's just, these is just, this is just the shit that snowballs into bigger problems. You know what I mean? Grudges, all kind of shit. And it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like I said in another live that I did, I'm big on learning how to disarm people because I need to be disarmed. How many of you can relate to that? I'm big on, learning how to approach people, how to converse, how to dialogue. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if this is reaching anyone, just leave it in the comments. I would appreciate it. But, like I said, if it don't reach no one, at least I get it out there, one or none. But anyway, yeah, I'm big on that. I'm big on that. Like, we could have a disagreement, but I don't have to get out of body. You could tell me you don't like shit, but I don't have to get out of body. I'm just big on teaching myself that, because I could say at one point in my life I wasn't big, I wasn't working on that, and it has caused me issues. You know what I mean? Like, one, for example, I could tell you that plagues our community. I always remember this from, it was an interview that Jay-Z did, and he was speaking about growing up in Brooklyn, growing up in Marcy. He was like, we grow up with this look on our face where we walk down the block and we say, what you looking at, to each other. We say, what you looking at, you know what I mean? We grow up like, what you looking at, nigga? What the fuck you looking, all that. And little do you know, that man is saying that because he's hurting. Like, he hasn't healed. He's hurting. And that shit, when I realized, because I hold on to that interview, I gotta find it, but I hold on to just the, you know what I mean, the meaning of it, what he was saying when he said that in the interview. And I was like, wow, like, that is exactly what it is. Like, we both of us is hurting. And he says, what you looking at? Because he's like, I don't want you to see me like this. I don't want you to see me like this. You know what I mean? Like, cause you could, you know what I mean? Like, you could be doing a little better, even if you're all in the same fucking pot. You're all still in the same pot. But he looking at you like you doing better than him, and you know what I mean? Oftentimes we have these senseless crimes from just robberies, from just envy. You see what I mean? Like a nigga, you got what I want type shit. Or, I ain't eating, like on paid in full. Like it just be senseless shit. You know what I'm saying? Senseless shit. When instead a motherfucker could actually humble himself, ask him. But once again, this ain't even promoted in our communities. Like the drug dealer or the nigga that's up, he's actually happy to look down on you. That's gotta stop. You know what I mean? Like he's actually happy to like, and that ain't all. Not all, because you got your Frank Lucases, you know what I mean? Your Outposts, different ones that would actually give back and shit like that, even though it's an oxymoron. It's definitely fucking stupid that you're also poisoning the same area that you're giving back to. That's why I've never been, I always looked at that equation as that, that's dumb. I'm not, welcome home, I'm not, that's crazy. Like, he gave out some turkeys and book bags and shit, but it's like, he's also fucking hurting the mom of the motherfucker that needed the book bag and the turkey. Like, that's stupid. Or the dad, you know what I mean? Like, that's stupid. Go take your chances, roll the dice, and fucking go hit the Polacks, or you know what I mean? Them issues over there. Like, go sell it to them. Go lock down the whole area of their shit. I'm big on that type of shit. Show up in their town, hop in a motel, and lock down their whole shit. You know what I mean? But anyway, Lord forgive me. But anyway, that's just common. That's common that. We don't cultivate an environment to allow people to heal. You know what I mean? To be more expressive, shall I say? You know what I'm saying? Like if there's something wrong, like for example, boom, mental health. A lot of people just say it just like that, mental health. Oh, he got mental health, like as if it's like a cough or something. You know what I mean? Oh, she got mental health. You know what I mean? And it's like, little do they know they got mental health. If you want to put it that way, you got mental fucking health. Just saying mental health is saying mental health. The health of his mental. But when we dive deeper into it, it's like, how is it? How is his health? How is his mental health? That's what you need to ask. And that's not common. It's become more common now. It just needs to keep going. That's all I can say. I think the dudes from 85 South, they got an app that they promote. I had created apps, an app called Vent. I haven't been able to get it funded. That's a thing that I do as a side gig as well. If anybody ever wants to tap in with me on that, I create apps and websites and things like that, most definitely. But like I was saying, it's not pushed, it's not promoted in our communities for people to feel safe to even tell somebody, I'm not feeling well, I'm not all right, I need some help, you know what I mean? Like, because why we get put a stigma on, motherfuckers be like, oh, that's, you know what I mean? Like they instantly, you know what I'm saying? Put you down, oh, he had to be put in the hospital, she had to be, like, it's like, it's very weird because what people don't understand is that person that need that, they came to you thinking that you were the candidate to tell, right? They came to you for a reason. You know what I mean? Obviously, they treated you like a blanket or they person. They came to you for a reason, and you treated them that way. You turned around and muddied their name. You know what I mean? Try to make it seem like they, loony and all this shit, which could be true. At the same time, it's like, damn, let's get the help for them though. Let that be popular. Let that be the, you know what I mean? Instead of, it's kind of like motherfuckers pull out their phone when they see an issue out in the street. They pull out their phone so they can get some content instead of kicking in the gear of assessing the problem. Like, oh, the police need to be called. That nigga's getting his head busted. And like, call the police, nigga. Or if you got a gun, stop him, nigga. The fuck you got your phone out for? You see what I mean? Like, we're not living in a society where the right solution or the solution, fuck the right solution, the solution doesn't get, you know what I mean, get executed. You know, people don't want to provide a solution. Instead, it's like brownie points to kick motherfuckers while they down, or you know what I mean? Like, people get off on this type of shit. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Like, I can say growing up, I wasn't one to see somebody get bullied and laugh at that. How many of you can relate to that? I can't do that. I can't. I immediately look at the bully like, man, he's got to go. like he's fucking up the whole ecosystem to me. Because there'll be others that are actually laughing, but they feel the same way. Ain't that something? See what I mean? We live in a world like that. There'll be other motherfuckers that are laughing with the, you know, bully, you know what I'm saying? Laughing with the bully and shit. But deep down, it ain't even deep down. It's just on the other side of that fear or whatever it is that they gotta cloak that shit. They actually feel the same way. And like I said, I never got into that type of shit. I see somebody getting picked on or, you know, beat up or whatever. Like, no matter what the reason is, to me it's just not something that I get into. You know, like if there was some righteous reason that you're beating up the dude, or you touch your sister, or, you know, or what have you, like, go do that on your own time. Like, why does it have to be a fucking arena? Why does that, like, see what I mean? Why does it have to be an arena? You know, and it's the same way even on the motherfucker that did something to your people. If they did it on the arena scale, yeah, they should be dealt with as well. So I guess, yeah, it would be righteous. But all I'm saying is, I never got into, like, I can't stand when I see somebody just, you know, belittling somebody doing that shit. Just, it's like, because at the end of the day, it doesn't do nothing for the motherfuckers that's doing it either. But once again, we're in a society that promotes that type of lifestyle, though. Promotes that type of, you know, mentality. To you know, instead of having the solution-based approach, you know, let's find a way. Instead, they you know, they want to misery love company it. They want to just drag it, and you know, and it's very sickening. You know what I mean? It's very, very, very sickening. And that's how you, like on the topic that I just said, mental health. That's how you know that motherfucker has mental health issues. And if you ask me, there's nobody in this society right now that doesn't have mental health issues. I'm talking about from your children, your little ones, all the way to your elders, especially the little ones, for sure. Because all of this, any of the fabricated, any of this strategic shit that they do here in this world, now that we know this, now that we're older, because when we was younger, we wasn't even looking at this type of wavelength. At least I didn't. I ain't had no homeboys, no homegirls talking about this shit. My mother and them, they wasn't, you know, they'll know a couple of things, you know. Back then, people used to speak on Pan-Africanism and, you know, Black Panther, but you know, but it'll blow over. Like, you rarely ran into motherfuckers that was really militant, really about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's 9 times out of 10 because why? They hold your jobs. They hold the way you could feed your family, keep your roof over your head. So a lot of people were suppressed. A lot of people had to go alone to get along. Like you just vent on your kids. That's why a lot of kids would get their ass beat from their mother and father, just because of shit, man. They had to hold their butt tight and, keep their mouth shut the whole day. And then they get home, they finally can let it loose. And sorry, not sorry, you the pillow, But that be the truth for a lot of people, though. That be the story for a lot of people. But just not having an environment where people can actually support each other, that hurts us, Like when it comes to somebody is doing bad, we instantly make the issue worse by dragging them, by humiliating them. You know what I'm saying? Like people are thinking that's the way to do it. You know what I mean? Like even when the public humiliations all on social media and all that shit, like people are thinking that's like the thing to do. I could see when it's the outsiders doing it to one of ours, but when our own does it, that's weird to me. That's weird as fuck. Like boom, Diddy or whatever it is, any of these things that they, amplify. Let them do their amplifying. Notice they don't even do their own like that. Notice that, even though you already know that, it's because they run the media and in major platforms. You already know it's like that. But like even just you seeing that, you should know that you shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? We can do that offline, off the radar. You know what I mean? Pull his coat, pull him to the side. You know what I mean? Tax him, whatever you need to do. You know what I'm saying? But it's never been okay for me. Because you got to know it's a ripple effect to that. It hits the psyche. Like I said, it's like a programming for motherfuckers that ain't even got nothing to do with it. The young ones especially, like I said, specifically the little ones, the babies, they see that shit. So it's fucking with they mental. Off top. Off top. Like it's just, as a collective, we should be trying to breed an environment where people can get the help they need instead of being chastised and criticized and, you need help, like that's crazy to me. That's weird as fuck. That's weird. Like you could be telling your Einsteins, which, fuck a Einstein, but you get what I mean? Like on the level in our community, you could be telling, somebody that has a groundbreaking, way of thinking, they got mass ideas, but they don't even have a voice. You ain't even letting this nigga speak because of what he got on. You're not even letting her speak because of how she looked. Like that's crazy to me. And you'll wonder why, when people do come up, they be like, they get money and then they move away. They get money or whatever, they get up and then they move the fuck away. It's because it's like, damn, when it was down, it wasn't in no healthy environment where motherfuckers is like, man, I want to see you do great things. I want to see your potential. It wasn't promoted like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like they'll see you down and it's like popular to make fun and drag people that are fucking down. Like that's corny. That's unhealthy, and it promotes what they calling them now, which my generation has started this shit, but they call it the YNs or whatever. It's like, I always say, I relate to them because it's like, I feel like I'm the generation that failed them. I always talk about that. I feel like I'm the generation that failed them, and it was mainly because, man, I was blindfolded. I wasn't even thinking about the shit that I should have been thinking about. I keep it 1,000 on that. I wasn't even thinking about the shit that I should have been thinking about. I ain't had no niggas talking to me about, longevity and shit. I didn't have nobody talking to me about shit like that. And if you was, that's good for you. It's just I can tell you even like X amount of cats that was around me, they wasn't talking about that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers had the most minute, unproductive bullshit on their mind. You know what I mean? Niggas is trying to get the biggest rims. This shit got orange hairs. Oh, this one got the blue dolphins. Oh, you got the blue G units. Like it was on the dumb shit, just dumb shit for nothing. And that, to me, that's super rock to sleep. That's super rock to sleep. Oh, we about to go get some more pro clubs. Like this stupid shit. You know, all the new J's just came out. Oh, you seen that one bitch? Like, it's like dumb shit to me. Because I look back at it and I'm like, man. Oh, y'all gonna be up there on Friday? Like, and like, what we gonna do when we get there? It's just like, you know, when it comes to support, man, I always think of shit like that because it's like, I know I had to have failed the younger ones underneath me growing up. Like, you know, I had to have, because it was just a trickle effect of it, you know. I'm doing what, notice, I don't know if you noticed this equation once, which I think these younger generations are changing this game, but once certain celebrities, like say an athlete that was from the hood, got money, as soon as he got his first bread, first check or whatever, what he do? He'd go and get something that he saw one of the, big time hustlers, big time players in his neighborhood. He go get the same something that he saw. He always wanted the bubble lie. You know what I mean? He always wanted that chain, or you see what I mean? They always go get something that the nigga on the block had. He's got made way more money than the nigga on the block now, but he minimizes himself all the way to those dreams. Ain't that crazy? That's saying something. That's to me. He's like, I always wanted that caddy because such and such had it, I wanted to look just like that, and he also and the biggest thing, it only matters if he could ride it down that same street. It only matters if he can ride it down that same block around the same people. Like, oh, look, I made it there too. And he want to see if he get that same love. That's really what he's chasing. He's really chasing that same love. Which is weird too. Like, it's weird from the jump. Like I just said, the whole neighborhood would be upholding the drug dealer, but somebody that's literally smart and, wanting to go to college and this and that, they're making fun of this nigga. You know what I mean? They're literally making fun of this motherfucker. And it's like, this is the ticket right there. That's the golden goose. What are we doing? You're throwing a welcome home party and all this shit for for Larry, for whoever the fuck just got home. Like, that's weird. That's weird as fuck. Who is supporting that type of shit? Not me. Not me. Like, y'all can have your own little things. Like, of course, that's what people do, but it's bigger than that now. Like, here it is, 2025, and I can say my whole lifetime, I've always heard of these type of shit. I've always seen it. You know what I mean? Such and such came home, 6 other dudes will be holding his shit down, and they all doing dirty shit. You're like, damn, if y'all had that much organization for the bad shit, why can't you just come together for the good shit? What's wrong with that? But once again, it's lack of information, misinformation, or don't want to hear it. That's what you run into. A motherfucker that is like, you ain't even credible. Look what you got on. Look what you driving. How I'm going to listen to you? Which I can't refute that either. I believe in that as well. Like, I'm not one to, like I just said earlier, I'm not one to take advice from a motherfucker that you didn't get your feet wet. I don't see no production. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't even add up. How am I going to take advice from you when you ain't even, you know what I mean? Which I ain't even gonna lie to you. I've gotten the like basically it came to my mind like I shouldn't be like that because that I was taught that could be an angel right there. Like even and it's not even on no. I'm judging them off of their their garments and what they looking like and all that. It's purely off of have you done it? Did you do this or you know what I'm saying? Have you been in these shoes? Have you been in this situation? That's where I, what I mean, pull back, on even giving an ear to somebody like that because if you've never even been in that arena, I don't look at it like that. I can't, believe you, you know what I'm saying, type shit, you know, which I'm sure is like that for a lot of people, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. These are one of the things that is big as far as why, when it comes to supporting, the topic of support in the black community, it be things like that, motherfuckers is too prideful, you also hold grudges, you know what I'm saying? You hold grudges, you hold judgments like on some shit like how you expect them to do that, like you automatically you just gave them the finish line. You just you just gave them their ending story. Like you're like they ain't gonna be able to do that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You don't even have no kind of potential or motivation of thinking, you know what I mean? Any kind of potential in them. You don't even see no potential in them, man. And that'd be a problem. Or, like I said, and here's a major one, like I said earlier, it'd be the envy. And that comes from a lot of the older generation to the younger, that breeds what you see now. That breeds what you see now. That breeds the, fuck it, I'll just take it. Fuck it, I'll just knock off the big dog. That's been going on for some years, but that's why I say all this shit that's going on now, or what have you, it's just amplified only because of the internet. You got motherfuckers that run the Twitter and take pictures and all that now. But all this shit has been going on. But but that's what it breeds though. You had the older cat's glory days is fading the fuck away, and the young boy is on the pedestal, and he's hating on him, and then the young boy is like seeing that hate, so he has to get you the fuck out the way. You know what I mean? He has to get you out of the way instead of the equation this being popular, instead of the old head seeing the young boy and being like, hey, we gotta tighten up, we gotta make things better for all of us. Like I'm one to tell you, and it's fuck to tell you, I'm one to show, which I show the younger generation, this is something that you can do. You know what I mean? This is something that it's cool. I don't like using the word cool, but I look forward to getting older now that I got older, if that makes sense. It feels great. I'm not one to tell them, I'm not one to show them, telling them basically by showing them shit like degenerate habits, what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Your self-destructive habits, you know what I'm saying? Which I'm not going to say don't have your fun, but at the same time, I've evolved even on that too. You know what I mean? Like my type of fun is different than that type of fun. And in a way, I've tapped into my true self because even back then when I was younger, a lot of us, like I said, a lot of us do things just because such and such is doing it or everybody gonna be there. Rarely do you ever rarely did people ever be around in circles that didn't give no pushback if you ain't coming, or you know what I mean, you ain't coming to the event, or you ain't got these on. Like, it's that minute, right? It sounds very fucking small now. Now that I'm older, all that shit is very small. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Super. And you see people still doing these same things. You know, you see grown-ups, you know, adults my age doing this same, running on that same wavelength, that same low vibe. To me, it's low as hell. It's low vibration. It doesn't give no fucking return on investment. You know, it's just purely off of, like, like what kind of, you know what I mean? Who do you belong to? You know, they're part of that competing shit, you know, instead of, providing a ecosystem of togetherness, you know what I mean? Cultivating, you know, that way we can build our think tanks, actually get progress instead of, boom, somebody has a great idea, right? And then like you'll see one or two that are, you know, actually solid on, oh man, I'm with it. And then you got like 5 of them over there that are like waiting for the other 4 to, you get what I'm saying, to say they with it or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as one of the ones out of the 5 does it, the other 4 is going to follow. You see, this is the world that you live in. You get what I'm saying? Now, if all of them say they don't, but they're against it, boom, now you got 5 motherfuckers that are against it, and then they'll actually step up and sound off and perform an anti-campaign against it. That's what's stupid, too. It's like, you can't just silently fucking not support, if that makes sense. You got to be loud as fuck on your not support. Like, that's crazy to me. I could see if we got a slaughterhouse, we got a, you know what I mean? I could see if we got a warehouse where we're chopping up, you know, people or some shit. Yeah, I don't support it. But if it's something for the community, like reparations, what the fuck are you sounding off on, being loud on, saying no that we don't need it for? And your opposition ain't even valid. That's what's crazy. You know what I mean? Your reasoning and all that shit don't even make sense. It's like purely just evil. It's coming from a spirit of, I don't want to see nobody win but me. Because this be coming from these celebrities, right? So, you know, and then, of course, it's just popular to do that, man. It's popular that people don't want to see you up. You know what I mean? They don't want to see you succeed. You know. One thing that comes to mind is I could say, like tuition. I spoke on this before. The tuition in college tuition. At one point, our people was able to go to college for free. White people, everybody was able to go to get a degree. Yeah, I want to say in an affordable way, because I wouldn't say it was necessarily free. Like, I think you had to probably sign up for a certain program, work somewhere for X amount. You know what I mean? Like, they had job placement like right after or what have you. And that's how you have your economy that you live in right now. Your bankers, your scholars, all that, you know. But anyway, at one point it was affordable. It was free. And then once the dominant society noticed that our people, you know, foundational Black Americans, were getting, you know, that education, you know, getting good jobs, you know what I'm saying, and building, and they saw that as a threat. And guess what? They said that they don't want, no longer want, they passed a bill or what have you to renege on, you know, the affordable education. You know what I'm saying? Now that's when tuition was placed onto it, and then it priced our people out. It literally priced you out, just like redlining, priced you out. certain policies, certain covenants or what have you is what they call them. And they get you up out of there. They make sure you ain't going to walk in this institution. You see what I'm saying? Now, when I only brought this up because when you have your own people doing that, knowing that we have shit like that going at us, and then you have your own people doing it, it's like, man, like how are you even sleeping at night doing that? You know what I mean? You're going against the cause. You're going against the cause, and you siding with the motherfuckers that are throwing these spikes in the road, and you know what I mean? Like your mass incarcerations, you know what I mean? Your over policing areas, your high numbers of exonerating. You're basically siding with all of that when you're doing that. You're siding with all that. You're for all of that shit. You'll have some type of justifying bullshit you'll pull out your ass when you hear of different things then. Unless it's you. Unless it happens to you. Like I said, these same people that do that, they'll have some, rags to riches ass story. You know what I mean? They always talk about some, they from the soil, they from the hood and all this shit, but don't really, what the biggest part about it is they don't want to see others come up though. It's cool that they came up, but they don't want to see you know what I mean? They don't want to see us as a collective, as a community come up. Instead, they get their rocks off seeing Keisha hurting or seeing, Raheem or whoever hurting. Does that make sense? Like, this is just the facts. These are just the facts. They get off on that type of shit. Oh, take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Man, get yourself together, man. Motherfuckers that made it a whole culture of it, which it sounds smooth, right? It sounds smooth. Man, you looking rough. You think of Mitch. Mitch on Paid in Full. What'd he say? You looking like a poo putt. You looking like a poo putt. You gotta clean up your laces, shit like that, which is smooth to a certain extent. But it's like at the same time, you see Mitch also pulled up people. You see what I mean? He also, supported his man. Like, see, that's rare. That's rare. That's why that movie. That's why people favorite, his character, because people love that equation right there. They're like, oh yeah, instead of the one that's what Alpo, you know what I'm saying? He literally he don't want to see everybody win, especially you know what I mean. He don't want to see everybody eat. He's actually scheming and plotting to take yours. See what I mean? That's crazy to me. Like, yeah, he's got to go. Like, yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna cut this short now, but yeah, like I said, I'm gonna end it with this. From all the things that I just spoke on, as far as what's hurting, I could say hurts the black community. Not having an environment where people can actually come to their people for help, or whether it be your emotional support, your advice, you know what I mean? Just being there for your people, for your people. It's not always financial. Like if anybody was to tell you, I would tell you that the most valuable kind of support is moral support. Just being there, telling, steering somebody down the right path. Especially if you've been there, elder, that's where the respect for the elders has to come into play. You know what I mean? We have to respect our elders. Yeah, you might see somebody that's still in the trenches with you and still in the mud with you, but they older. They done, seen some shit, been through some shit that you haven't. You know what I mean? You can, you can lend an ear to them. Take their advice. you know, chew up the meat, spit out the bones. I ain't saying you gotta like fucking become a cult, a part of their cult. All I'm saying is and they got to be made comfortable to come to the forefront, to the younger ones with their advice. You get what I'm saying? And vice versa. Like, say your method, old head, is outdated. You know what I'm saying? The young one has a better method now. He's got to be comfortable enough to come to the forefront, and then, man, if the environment is promoted as an open door, more as, and when I say open door, meaning not tear down or belittle or embarrass or whatever. Even though all those feelings are very necessary. You'll never hear me tell you that those emotions or feelings ain't necessary. All I'm saying is it shouldn't be made more priority, because that's what it seems like. Like, our culture ends up being like, type shit, instead of and then let's move on to the solution. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool to all right, we Jones them. All right, we just, roasted that nigga. All right, let's move on to let's help him out. Like, okay, y'all roasted on his sneakers. Now, if you roasted on his clothes and his sneakers and shit, do you have any bread that you can pitch to get him another pair? You see his toes coming out. You see he got holes in his jacket. Like, are you able to do that? This is the approach that I've always inherently, had in my spirit. I wasn't always able to give it to you verbal like this, tell you, but my actions have always showed. I would give sneakers to my friends and shit like that, and it'll be on the low, not in front of everybody. Like, look what I did. It'll just be on the low. Next time you see him, he's looking clean too. Then you're gonna ask him where he got it from. He ain't even got to tell you where the fuck he got it from. All you know is that he looking better than you now. That's what's crazy, right? That's how it go. So that's the shift. That's the shift that I want to see happen between the brothers, between the sisters. Like, instead of, it's not needed. It's just not needed. Like, boom, you can tell her, oh, you shouldn't have been, scolded for fucking with homeboy or whatever the fuck. You shouldn't have been over there with them people or whatever it is. And then you move on to the solution. And move on to the fucking solution, man. That's the support that we all need. That's the support we all need. Roasting and all that shit is cool until it becomes a plague.